Hey, how's it going? Today we'll be discussing why Salvage the Bones is or is not an appropriate novel to study to understand Louisiana literature, culture, and history. Which my take on it is that Salvage the Bones is an appropriate novel to study to understand Louisiana literature, culture, and history. Um, I believe it is because of something a lot of us Louisianians um in our older generation can relate to is the effect of Hurricane Katrina on the Gulf Coast and specifically Louisiana itself. Um, I mean, Katrina was devastating towards New Orleans, especially since the levees were damaged and a lot of water in that big bowl we call New Orleans. Um, which to tie it in with the other literature we read about, um, and Lafcadio Hearn's Cheetah, there was a quote in there that read, uh, "Great God," shrieked a voice about the shouting of the storm. "She is coming." It was true. Down the Chafalaya and thence through strange mazes of bayou, lakelet, and pass by rare root family, only to the best of pilots. The frail river craft had toiled into Cayuga Bay, running close to the main shore, and now she was heading right for the island, with the wind aft over the monstrous sea. On she came, swaying, rocking, plunging with great whiteness, wrapping her about like a cloud and moving with her, moving. A tempest whirl of spray, ghost white, and like a ghost she came, which talks about the sudden onset of a hurricane, how fast it actually hits you, which you have the calmness before the storm, and then the hurricane hits you. Especially when you have no special instruments to tell you that a hurricane is coming or any warnings beforehand, which in Salvage the Bones um, takes place during Katrina's time. So they didn't have any of the social media outlets or the way they got news was from news stations, the radio. Didn't give them a lot of time to actually understand the severity of what was coming or any time to board the house and pack up and go and evacuate. Which my quote for Salvage the Bones is, "I will tie the glass and stone with string, hang the shards above my head, or above my bed, so that they will flash in the dark and tell the story of Katrina, the mother that swept into the Gulf and slaughtered. Her chariot was a storm so great and black, the Greeks will say it was harnessed to dragons. She was murderous mother who cut us to the bone, but left us alive, left us naked and bewildered as wrinkled newborn babies, as blind puppies, as sun-starved newly hatched baby snakes. She left us a dark gulf and salt-burned land. She left us to learn to crawl. She left us to salvage. Katrina is the mother we remember until the next mother with large, merciless hands committed to blood comes." Which just talks about how merciless Katrina was. The storm wiped a lot of houses, and which that relates to a little passage from the Afro Creole book, which it came from the poem for the victims of the Saint Domingue fire. Um, but all of a sudden, a cry of utter fright, a cry of despair and baleful horror, took flight through the air, fire misery rolling in troubled waves like the sea swelling. Which it this relates to the how the storm just destroys. It just comes and it doesn't care who you are. It just rolls past you. Which and after a storm like that comes and pillages through your home. Um, relate this to Desiree's Baby by kind of like the storm kind of comes and takes you home, and relate this by passage saying she turned away like one stunned by a blow and walked slowly towards the door, hoping he would call her back. Which I thought about, like, you kind of want to go back to where you call home, but you have to deal with um like the horrors of what happened there, or just everything you have just gone in a few days. It's horrible. Which last question, decide whether the Mississippi Gulf Coast culture is different from Louisiana's culture as portrayed by Ward. If yes, how? Um, I think it is different because Louisiana culture is so rich in many different just many different cultures around the world.